Hi friends, Jennifer Saake here, S-double-A-K-E, that's S like smile, A-A-K-E. Find me at jennifersaake.blogspot.com, and this is my third attempt at 1 Peter chapter 3. I will try and delineate most of my verse numbers just with hand signals rather than stopping the flow of my words. This is my third attempt tonight. I am a 6-time stroke survivor, and I was having some stroke complications during one video, and I didn't even attempt to keep up the live post of the other video. So let's see on try 3 how far I can get to 1 Peter chapter 3, Legacy Standard Bible. So that's read.lsbible.org. Legacy Standard Bible is my memorization attempt. You can follow along because it won't be word perfect, but let's jump in and see how it goes. In the same way, you wives be subject to your own husbands, so that even if any of them are disobedient to the word, they may be won without a word by the conduct of their wives, as they observe your pure conduct with fear. Your adornment must not be merely external, braiding the hair and wearing gold jewelry, or putting on garments, but let it be the hidden person of the heart with the incorruptible quality of a lowly and quiet spirit which is precious in the sight of God. For in this way, in former times, the holy women also, who hoped in God, used to adorn themselves, being subject to their own husbands. Being subject to their own. 6. Just as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, you have become her children if you do good. See Proverbs 3:25, not fearing any intimidation. In you husbands, in the same way, live with your wives in an understanding way, as with a weaker vessel, since she is a woman, showing her honor as a fellow heir of the grace of life, so that your prayers will not be hindered. Verse 8. To sum up, all of you, be like-minded, sympathetic, brotherly, tender-hearted, and humble in spirit, not returning evil for evil, or the 1 Peter 2:23 that talks about Jesus not reviling those who crucified him. So 1 Peter 3:9 is not returning evil for evil or reviling for reviling, but giving a blessing instead. For you were called to you were called to this very purpose, that you might inherit a blessing. Now, as we're moving into 1 Peter 3:10, 10 through 12 are paraphrasing Psalm 34, verses 12 through 16. So 1 Peter 3:10. Okay, so we've gone to 9, not returning evil for evil or reviling for reviling, but giving a blessing instead, for you were called to this very purpose, that you might inherit a blessing. For, in verse 10, the one who desires life, to love and see good days, must keep his tongue from evil and his lips from speaking deceit. He must turn away from evil and do good. He must seek peace and pursue it. For the eyes of the Lord are toward the righteous, and his ears attend to their prayer, but the face of the Lord is against those who do evil. 13. For who is there to harm you if you prove zealous for what is good? But even if you should suffer for the sake of righteousness, you are blessed. And see Isaiah 8:12 and 13. And do not fear their fear, and do not be troubled, but sanctify Christ as Lord in your hearts, always being ready. See Colossians 4:6. So always being ready to make a defense to everyone who asks you, to give an account for the hope that is in you. Yet, see 2 Timothy 2:24 through 26. Yet with gentleness and fear, having a good conscience before God. No, having a good conscience, so that in the thing in which you are having a good conscience, so that in the thing in which you are slandered, those who disparage your good conduct in Christ may or might, might be put to shame. 17. For it is better, if God should will it so, that you suffer for doing good rather than for doing wrong. Something close to that. I don't know if I have the exact wording choices. For it is better, if God should will it so, that you suffer for doing good rather than for doing wrong. And then 18. For Christ also suffered in the flesh, the righteous for the unrighteous, that he might bring you to God. For Christ also suffered in the flesh, the righteous for the unrighteous, that he might bring us to God, bring you to God, having been put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the spirit, in which also he went and made proclamation to the spirits now in prison, who once were disobedient, when the patience of God kept waiting in the days who weren't the spirits who once were disobedient, when the patience of God kept waiting in the days of Noah during the construction of the ark, in which a few, that is 8 persons, were brought safely through the water. 20. Corresponding to that, baptism now saves you. See Titus 3:5 through 7. See Titus 3:5 through 7 to get the explanation about how baptism now saves you. Okay, corresponding to that, baptism now saves you. To see Titus 3:5 through 7, not the removal of dirt from the flesh, but an appeal of a good conscience to God. An appeal of a good conscience to God. So we need to see Hebrews 9:13 and 14 as well as Hebrews 10:22 to understand the whole passage better. So not the removal of dirt from the flesh, but an appeal of a good conscience to God. That also goes back to 1 Timothy 3:16, where you were always ready to make a defense to anyone who asked you to give an account for the hope that was in you. Having a good conscience was in verse 16. So there's two good conscience verses 16 and 21 that have some parallels. Not the So baptism now saves you, not the removal of dirt from the flesh, but an appeal of a good conscience to God, through the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Through the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So that whole previous verse, we need to see all of Romans chapter 6 to get a feel for what that verse, very confusing verse, actually means. Romans chapter 6 gives a good explanation. So, okay, without any commentary. Corresponding to that, baptism now saves you, not the removal of dirt from the flesh, but an appeal of a good conscience to God through the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And then we're going into 22, who is at the right hand of God, having gone into heaven after angels and authorities and powers had been submitted to him. Okay, Hebrews 1 verse 6 either goes with the end of verse 21 or with 22. I'll have to tie that cross-reference more solidly in my memory, but Hebrews 1 6 goes with one of those two verses I just finished with. 1 Peter 3 21 or 22. And then we go, after angels and authorities and powers had been subjected to him, we go into chapter 4, verse 1, which starts with the word therefore. And anyone who's been following my videos for a bit knows that anytime there's a therefore, of course, we need to see what it's there for. And so chapter 4 starts with referencing back to everything we just said in chapter 3. And I imagine a giant fork sticking into it because the Bible Memory Goal community gave me that imagery that if I picture a big fork sticking into anything, it's my there fork. So that takes us into chapter 4. So thank you for sticking with me. Sorry for all the starts and stops. That was 1 Peter chapter 3 in the Legacy Standard Bible. And I'm Jennifer Saake. You can feel free to join me at jennifersaake.blogspot.com or Instagram at Infertility, INFERTILITYMOM. So at InfertilityMom on social media, especially Instagram. Thank you. Have a great evening. And it's only taken me 6 months to get, I'd say only. I have a lot of friends who did a lot faster than that. For me, it's exciting that in 6 months I've been able to memorize 3 chapters of 1 Peter 5, 4, and 3. So tomorrow I start working my way down through chapter 2 from the last verse to the first, and we'll see how many months it is before I get to give you that recording as well. Have a great evening. Thanks. Bye bye. God bless.